I want to share my thoughts on arm lift with you today. I see and hear a lot of golfers comment on whether their backswing is flat or steep. And what we mean by that is whether I've got an arm plane that is too low or whether we've got an arm plane that is too high. Now you can see that in both of those shots, I was able to hit a pretty straight shot. So therefore you can understand that really arm lift has no discernible impact on whether you hit the ball straight or bendy. We've seen it enough with the likes of Jim Furyk, with the likes of Justin Leonard, two old school golfers, but two golfers that have had really quite differing arm lifts. Matt Kuchar, another one that's super low. Arm lift really comes about for the majority of golfers based around the bend in the sky. What you'll tend to see is when a golfer has a ball that bends a long way to the left, what you'll tend to see is a golfer that has quite a flat arm plane, because that flat arm plane makes him feel like they can stop the ball bending to the left by pushing the path out to the right. Then when you get a golfer that tends to have a ball that bends to the right, you invariably see that arm lift up, because all of a sudden it really changes the way they can move the golf club through the strike, which will appease that ball bending and missing the target to the right. So your arm plane will absolutely, top of the pile, be reflected in how the ball bends in the sky. That bend in the sky, if you've watched enough of my content, will come from the grip. Go check that out, folks. The grip series playlist, huge, absolutely huge for your game. So if you've got your grip in a good manner, then all of a sudden we have an opportunity to start to adapt and change the way we move to make the arm lift correct. Now what I want to do is give you a drill that's going to allow you to understand where your arms should be. Where they should be. And when I mean where they should be is what we traditionally see as an acceptable amount of arm lift. Now understand, arm lift, the more you lift your arms up, the more your body, as it unravels to the target, and I'm talking about just a rotational motion, the more the body unravels to the target, you've got to bring those arms from that upper plane down to that lower plane as your body moves around. Now the club is back underneath us, all of a sudden I now have the chance to now start to square that golf club up as I move around and hit the ball down the target. A little bit low on the face there. So as I have more arm lift, the more my body will have to slow down. If I've got too much arm lift, my body will have to slow down to get that club on the lower plane. Whereas if I have a much flatter arm lift, I'll be able to have a little bit more turn with the body early. Now I did a piece on Victor Perez's golf swing on Sky Sports at the weekend, and he has an arm lift almost 10 inches more than your average tour player. He's a tall guy, but the way his body moves in his backswing, way more lateral than we see with, say, someone like Shane Lowry, who I also did a piece on. Those differing body actions will really set early in a golf swing. So this is more of a Victor Perez movement, where he moves laterally off the ball, which keeps his hips square for longer, gets the club a little bit wider, which then all of a sudden starts to set the arm plane a little bit higher, as opposed to someone like Shane that gets a little bit more rotary early on, which makes the arm plane a little bit flatter. So the body action had an impact on the arm pitch. So as I say, the acceptable amount of arm lift in a backswing for the majority of golfers is when we look at it, the left arm would want to match up that shoulder pitch. So we start to see how much those arms really lift, and it's the hand that's lifting to the height of the shoulders, and then we turn and you can now see how that arm sits. So when we lift the arms up, we do two things. We have that vertical direction with the arms, but we also have some rotation in there as well. And depending on how much rotation we have in the forearms in a backswing, will be dictated by A, your grip, which will dictate where your face points, which will then dictate the bend you see in the sky, which will then dictate how you use that on the way down. That's a lot going on there, so you might want to play it back. But I'm giving you cold, hard truths of how you get yourself into what might be a cross the line position or a laid off position. Both have their merits, both will deliver certain shots, but how you arrive there is derived by those three ingredients that I just spoke about. So the correct manner of which I would like you to think about how you'd want to apply arm lift and how you might get to feel whether you're in a good place or a bad place is if you simply set yourself up to the golf ball, lift the handle up so your lead hand is at forehead height. When you then lift it up at forehead height, depending on how wide you want to be, for me, I'll be comfortably straight. I wouldn't be ramrod straight with your left arm, comfortably straight. Make sure that when you're lifting the club up in front of you, you're staying in posture. Then lay the shaft down at 45 and then make a backswing. And depending on how you move your pelvis, will dictate how you move your chest, which will then either give you a feeling that you can hold on to this shape or not hold onto that shape because you're not moving around the golf ball. So how you hold on to that arm lift and that forearm rotation will be dictated by the pelvis or the belt line. And if you're tired of paying too much for your premium leather golf gloves, head over to gxgolfgloves.com. These are premium leather golf gloves that are trusted by tour players and elite amateurs alike. Use my code GOODGOLFCOACHING for 10% off your next order, and I promise you, you won't ever look back. Below. So it's a great drill to give you an understanding of where you might think you want to be in an effort to hit the golf ball straight. I think you might find that there's quite a few things going on there that will give you insight into how the arm lift works. Hit shots like that, tell your friends, I'm doing my thing here at Good Golf Coaching, and I think you'll find that is good coaching.